So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream. I have a dream that one day every citizen in the United States of America will have free health care. In 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dared to dream away racism in his 1963 speech. In 2017, I am daring to dream about free health care for all Americans. As a single mother of 14-year-old twins, I know the financial burden to keep my kids and I insured. Even with a substantial nurse's salary, it's still difficult to make co-payments and other bills not covered by insurance. Therefore, I can only imagine what a less fortunate family goes through to insure themselves. In 2017, free health care for every citizen of the United States of America should be a reality and not just a dream. Do you know that just by obtaining free healthcare today, you will automatically increase your life expectancy, live an overall happier life, and the country will have a decrease in infant mortality? You don't have to take my word for it because Canadians are a living proof of these facts according to CanadianHealthcare.org. When US joins the global consciousness on free healthcare, citizens like you and I are going to live longer, happier lives with an abundance of healthy children and great-grandchildren around us. Today, I am going to persuade you to understand my dream of having free healthcare for all American citizens. First, I will give you a brief history of the global and American healthcare systems. Secondly, I will show you a model of the Canadian and European healthcare systems. And finally, I will list a few of the benefits of having free healthcare in these places. To help you understand what healthcare is, we must start with its definition and history. Merriam-Webster.com defines healthcare as the maintenance and restoration of health by the treatment and prevention of disease, especially by trained and licensed professionals, as in medicine, dentistry, clinical psychology, and public health. Otto von Bismarck is a German who invented the concept of healthcare system in the 1880s, as reported in the film Sick Around the World. Today, the Otto von Bismarck model is used all over the world, which promotes the notion that government have to provide a mechanism so all of its people can get medical care when they need it. Today, the Bismarck model is in use in almost every developed nation on earth, along with a few developing nations. The healthculture.com designed this map that highlights nations using the Bismarck model, and it is disappointing that the United States of America is not a participating nation. Orange highlights Iraq and Afghanistan. Both nations have universal health coverages provided by the United States due to its war funding. Blue highlights countries with some type of universal health care, while green highlights countries attempting to implement universal health care. Unfortunately, gray highlights countries with no universal health care system, and that is the category where US falls under. In addition to the fact that the US does not have a universal healthcare system, Teitelbaum and Walensky reports that the U.S. spends over twice as much on healthcare per person as other developed countries. The data retrieved for this graph comes from PBS News Hour at psg.org. Towering in red over every other country is the U.S. healthcare expenditure at 17.6% of the national GDP. With such a high financial dedication, U.S. citizens should be enjoying free healthcare by now. Our closest neighbors, Canada and Mexico, uses 11.3 and 6.2% of their GDP respectively on healthcare, with far greater results than ours. Even though the U.S. offers its citizens the opportunity to buy healthcare, it does not employ a unified or government-run healthcare system. In most cases, healthcare is dependent on employment where the unemployed are left without coverage. For those who have insurance, coverage is often limited and very expensive, where patients pay out of pocket for co-payments and other medical bills. Because drug prices are not regulated, U.S. patients are crossing our northern and southern borders in search of affordable drugs. The national shortage of nurses and other medical personnel has led to long wait times for appointments and medical services across the country. In 2010, the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act was passed into law, making it the first major health reform law passed in this country. As per Teitelbaum and Walensky, to alleviate some of the previously mentioned problems that still exist. In contrast to the health care in US, the Canadian healthcare system is a group of socialized health insurance plans that provides coverage to all Canadian citizens. It is publicly funded and administered on a provincial or territorial basis, within guidelines set by the federal government, according to CanadianHealthcare.org. Additionally, all Canadian citizens qualify for health coverage regardless of medical history, personal income, or standard of living. The benefit of its socialized healthcare system ranks Canada as one of the highest life expectancy countries in the world, with its citizens living up to 80-year-old on the coverage. Its infant mortality rate is also amongst the lowest in the world, and overall, Canadians live a much happier and healthier lives in comparison to US citizens. The European healthcare system is not that different from the Canadian healthcare system. Great Britain is known as the world leader in preventative care medicine. As reported in the film Sick Around the World, for such a high honor, it is no wonder that Great Britain offers free healthcare to its citizens where there are never co-pays nor bills for patients to worry about. For Germany, it has the privilege of being the birthplace of Otto von Bismarck, the father of the modern healthcare system. As such, everyone has healthcare coverage in Germany, and the German healthcare system even pays for alternative therapy, including spas and belly dancing. Although the history of international and national healthcare is compelling and behooves every patient to take notice, in addition to the Canadian healthcare system, we just analyzed the European healthcare system with focus on the Great Britain and German healthcare systems and some of the benefits of free healthcare each nation offers its citizens. To conclude today's speech, remember that healthcare is a concept that is over 130 years old. It has been adopted in nations small and great across the span of time. And so it is time for the greatest country on earth to adopt and implement the concept of free healthcare for its citizens. Instead of going bankrupt over healthcare bills, U.S. citizens should fall in love with the idea of free healthcare that delivers happier and healthier lives. From its inception in the 1880s to my dream in 2017, it is possible for the United States of America to offer free healthcare for every citizen of this nation. From California to New York, Maine to the Florida Keys, Alaska to Hawaii, we will have free healthcare.
Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
We will have free healthcare at last. Thank you.